Okay, thank you for being with me. This is OnionheadAndrew's first conference call, and we've got a stellar turnout today, but that's how it goes the first time for anything. What we're going to cover today is the paradigm. I sent it out in that newsletter, and I made the video on the Onionhead Andrew Rumble website about what we were going to cover today. And basically, we're just going to go over the overview of the paradigm and make a plan moving forward. And the plan moving forward will be contingent upon what people want. And not only that, but we, at the beginning of this, we don't have a lot to cover, but we have enough to cover to take a few different routes, but we'll circle around all the information eventually. So what I did is I made a PowerPoint, and we're going to keep this fairly short today, unless we got a lot of questions or something like that. But I'm just going to jump right into the PowerPoint, and from there we'll do a little Q&A if anybody's got any, and then we'll be done. Okay, excuse me for that. This is the paradigm, and this is why I've created this this live conference call. It's because people will need to understand this, people that are targeted, but just generally the public too. This is the paradigm. To get free of the majority of the symptoms related to directed energy weapons and the weapon systems around them, because it's not just directed energy weapons, we'll cover that, is the first is deactivate implants. Then we're going to go over how to demagnetize the body, and then how to detox nanomachinery and heavy metals. So why deactivate implants? Because the implants are subcutaneous and they electromagnetically pull heavy metals from the food, air, and water to different areas of the body. The heavy metals form self-assembling wires from implant to implant, making an artificial nervous system. The artificial nervous system is constructed of self-assembling wires out of that heavy metal particulate that's in the food and the air and the water. And after 12 to 36 hours is reinforced by synthetic biology / nanomachinery. That's nanomachinery is synthetic biology. Synthetic biology grows the nanomachinery. Once all of that's in place, once you have these self-assembling wires from implant to implant, the directed energy weapons can access them to create the internal voltages that targets so often complain about, which is to say that feeling of being zapped. All right, so that's not just directed energy weapons. There is a heavy nano machinery and heavy metal link to it. Okay, this is just a real quick illustration. What I've got here is there are a bunch of red lines going through a woman's body that's translucent. It's like a medical diagram. And at the end of all these red lines are these yellow dots. And I put that there for people to understand how these implants in the nanomachinery artificial nervous system works. When you get hit with these, so there's a variety of ways of getting implants. You can get them when you're at the doctor's office. That happened to me in surgery. That happened to me. You can also get them, but this is the most common way, and this is usually how people have them, is they actually get shot with them. They're very, 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 very small, smaller than hair. And they can be shot through a rail gun. I know that sounds crazy, like it couldn't happen, but this railgun technology has literally been developed for the last 50, 70 years, something like that. And these implants, they are so small, they can literally be shot through various material. And I wouldn't know all of the material, but for example, like drywall. It can literally, these implants can be shot through drywall. So when I'm talking about how every targeted individual or survivor has implants, I really mean that. They all have these little implants. When you get hit with one of these things, it feels like no more than a splinter. If you're unlucky, sometimes you can't even feel them, it feels like a nervous system sensation, almost like a tingle. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but they're very, very faint. And when you get hit noticeably, it hits a part of your body that is I don't know, more sensitive, I don't really know how that works, you will notice it. And it feels more like a bee sting or a mosquito sting at that point. But every targeted individual has these implants. And like I said, the implants are pulsing the body with magnetism, more or less, and these heavy metals that are in the food, the air, and the water through chemtrails and corporate food. And then that's for the general public. And then for targeted survivors, it's also through directed weather weapons. Basically, chemtrail particulate being released from the ground through various mechanisms. Cars, dryers, fireplaces, a variety of things, and then specialized machinery too. Okay, so how do you deactivate these implants? Well, it's actually pretty easy to make an EMP, an electromagnetic pulse, okay? The easiest way to do this is to go buy a stun gun. It costs about $30, $40, $50, one with a nice, reliable switch on it, a nice toggle switch, and wrap a bit of wire just like you see here in this illustration. You got to wrap the wire in a circle. On one side is tied to the stun gun electrode, and the other side is spark gap. That spark gap, creates the pulse, and the coil directs it. Now that stun gun with that wire, that little bit of wire right there, is enough to create a EMP that will deactivate the implants in your body. Okay, so that's step number one. There's also another way to do this. It's through high voltage power supply using a car ignition coil. That's if you live somewhere outside of United States, basically, that you cannot buy a stun gun legally. That's pretty much everywhere besides the United States. But those, it's much, much easier to build the stun gun EMP than it is to build a high voltage power supply using a car ignition coil, and then doing basically the same thing that you see the stun gun doing. And again, this will be posted on Rumble after we're done here, and so you'll be able to review this and look at all these things that I'm talking about if you can't see them right now. Okay, and this is email me at thisonionheadandrew@northstarsoc.com, or email me at the acole9689@hotmail.com, which again is on the Rumble page, and will be on both these will be on the Rumble page. Email me if you want to learn how to build either the stun gun EMP or the high voltage power supply, and when enough people want it, we'll do it all together. We'll make a workshop out of it. Okay, so that was number one, deactivate the implants. And remember, the implants are sending low pulses. Basically, the implants are helping magnetize certain areas of our body more so than others, so that the heavy metals in the food, the air, and the water are drawn to them. And from implant to implant, you get these self-assembling wires, okay? So after we deactivate the implant, this next thing that we really want to do is demagnetize the body. And of course, this is just an introduction to this information. Any of this stuff that I've already said could be covered in much greater detail at a later time. The first thing is understanding capacitors and inductors. Okay, the easiest way to make a capacitor before we get into the science of it.
This call is no longer being recorded.
Hold on a second. We'll just check to see what's going on with all that. No, we're still being recorded. Okay. Whoever's making that sound, could you please mute? Okay, so inductors and capacitors. Let me back out real quick. And we'll go back.
I'm sorry, that was my phone. Apologize for that.
That's okay.
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. It happens. These capacitors, the easiest way to make them, and what I'm talking about when I'm saying how to demagnetize the body with capacitors or inductors, is you literally can wear this stuff on you. And when the camera comes back on me, you're going to see a lump underneath my sweater. It's from a capacitor that I've made. I'm literally wearing it right now. It's relieving me very, very much. But anyways, how you make these capacitors very cheaply is you take aluminum and you take plastic wrap, and you just layer it. You can use aluminum tape, like they use for HVAC. That's very easy. Or you can use aluminum foil. You put a layer of that down, and then you wrap that in plastic wrap, insulating the aluminum completely. And then you put another layer of aluminum down, and then you wrap that in plastic wrap until you've got about 3, 4, 5 layers. Now, what that will do, that capacitor, when you press it to your skin where you're feeling these symptoms, is it's going to take the magnetic charge of being attacked right out of your body, okay? And it's going to store it in the capacitor as an electrical field. That's the science of it. Doesn't really matter too much. Now, inductors are something completely different. But inductors and capacitors are two sides of the same coin. What inductors are they're coiled wire around your body. So if you go to the hardware store and you buy pretty much any copper wire, you want copper wire that's insulated so it doesn't increase the magnetism of your body. And you take this copper wire and you can twist it for more effect, but you don't need to. You wrap it around parts of your body, usually the left side of your body, your left arm, your left leg, your torso, stuff like that. You wrap this coiled wire around you coil this wire around your body, and what that does is it takes the electrical charge that you're being hit with and it turns it into magnetism, okay? And that magnetism is generated from the inside of the center of whatever's coiled out, all right? And I know that's hard to imagine, but it makes a toroidal, okay? And what that does, inductors, what they do is they break apart those self-assembling wires in the body from that heavy metal poisoning that every targeted individual has. So if you don't deactivate implants, what happens, and you're wearing an inductor and a capacitor, you're doing that part, is that immediately the heavy metals will get pulled to that area of your body, but they won't form the self-assembling wires and the larger, bigger nanomachinery structures. Okay, so you really need to deactivate the implants first so they don't immediately, the heavy metals and various aerosols don't get pulled immediately to that part of the body. Okay, but once you do that and you use capacitors and inductors, you can attenuate the directed energy weapons that you're being hit with. Okay, so let's see, I believe, so this real quick is here on the left, and I know if you can't see it, again, it'll be posted, but on the left here is a capacitor, and it basically just shows what's going on with the electrical charge inside of it. Doesn't really matter too much. And then on the right below is showing the inside, the magnetic field produced from coiling wire in an inductor. Okay? So again, capacitors take the magnetic charge and put it into the electrical field, and inductors take the electrical field and put it into a magnetic one. Okay, so they're opposite sides of the same coin of electricity, but they work completely differently. Okay, and when you utilize these correctly, you can attenuate. So I've got another one, demagnetize continued. The magnetic pulses from directed energy weapons are inherently inductive. That's huge. I'm glad I put this slide here. Basically, whenever you're getting hit with a weapon system, a directed energy weapon, 9 times out of 10, this isn't always the case, it's usually the case, is that force is inductive. You're being hit with a magnetic force, and what they're doing is they're charging, the directed energy weapons are charging or giving a polarity to the foreign particulate in your body, which is to say the heavy metals, the chemicals from the corporate food supply, all that type of thing. When it comes to directed energy weapons, almost all of the electromagnetic spectrum is utilized. And the waves are arrayed in different formations. They can beam them, they can put them in a cone, I don't know what else, but I do know those two for sure. So to recap here, directed energy weapons are almost always transverse waves, which is to say magnetic. And what they're doing is they're charging the foreign particulate in your body, which is the heavy metals and the nanomachinery. Because that's why that's there, is to create that artificial nervous system so that you can be accessed with these directed energy weapons from any distance, more or less. This, real quick, is just it shows radio waves, microwaves, infrared, visible light, ultraviolet, X-rays, gamma rays. And it shows how it's all transverse waves, just at different different levels, different intensities, different frequencies. And that's what I mean with these people are utilizing the whole electromagnetic spectrum, or as much of it as they can. Because really, I mean, I've gone toe-to-toe with the counterintelligence torture teams in my area, and they have just dialed this up and down and up and down. And if I was using any shielding, what I would find is that it would only work some of the time for some application, because they could dial up and go around it, or they could dial down and go around it, or dial up and go through it, increase the intensity, go through the object, or dial down and go around it. Because like radio waves, which is the low end of the electromagnetic spectrum, are like 40 feet long. They're huge. How would you stop? How would you shield a 40-foot wave? There's just no way. So the answer isn't shielding. It's demagnetizing the body with the principle of attenuating frequencies. So what does attenuate mean? It means to make slender, fine, or small, to reduce in force, value, amount, or to lessen the density of or rarefy. So we're not shielding. We're taking this energy we're being bombarded with, we're using capacitance and inductance, and we're bringing it to null. Okay? And in fact, if we can bring it to null in a constructive manner, we can actually use the energies that we're being hit with for good. I know that sounds crazy, but through inductive and capacitance, you can literally shed this magnetism and increase your body's homeostasis. And because, again, so back to shielding, why shielding is not the answer, no one material can block the whole electromagnetic spectrum. If you find it, please tell me. Materials layered and arranged in specific ways can attenuate. For example, what we were talking about with capacitors and coiled copper wire. That's what we're doing. We're attenuating. We're attenuating from magnetism back down to neutral, or we're attenuating from dielectricity back up to neutral, which is to say magnetic and unmagnetic. Okay, that's what dielectric means. Let's not get caught in the weeds there. That'll be for a further class. Very important to understand that, but not right now. Some shielding is effective for very specific purpose, and I mean very specific purpose. For example, when the camera comes back on me, you'll see that I'm wearing orange glasses. Those orange glasses, they're blocking blue light, and that's very specific because our eyes, as a targeted survivor, are always being, or not always, but a lot of the time, being attacked with certain frequencies of ultraviolet that we cannot see with our eyes, but are affecting us like blue light would, but worse. And I have proof of that on OnionheadAndrew's Rumble page. It's, I can't remember the video right now, but it's there. It's something like FBI caught. Demagnetizing the body continued. By balancing the two forces of induction and capacitance, one can attenuate any directed energy weapon, from gamma rays to radio frequencies. If you've got the right mixture of inductance and capacitance on you, you can attenuate it. That's not me. That's not them doing anything. That's the forces of God. We're talking about the fundamental layer of reality and how electricity works. Once you have those implants removed, you can do this with capacitance inductance until the day you die. And they can bombard you they can park a van right in front of your house and hit you with their worst array of things. If you have enough capacitance inductance on you arranged in the right way, it'll more or less just reverberate right off you. That's because that's what we're doing. We're taking a string that's being struck and we're bringing it back to its resting state. That string would be transverse waves, but I don't want to get off in the metaphor too far. All directed energy weapons are interacting with your body electrically and magnetically. So that's what I just said. We are cutting them off at the fundamental layer with induction and capacitance. Okay, so number 1 was deactivate implants. Number 2 was demagnetize the body. Number 3 is going to be detox nanomachinery. But first, let's get a real quick explanation of what nanomachinery and heavy metal really is. Okay, every person on Earth at some point is being attacked through the food, air, and water with smart dust, smart filaments, heavy metals, synthetic heavy metals, and various chemical compounds. The smart dust and filaments order the biomaterial in our body along with the aforementioned particles to form complex chains of nanomachinery that transverse our body. Okay, that was a lot of words to say that we are all being infected with nanomachinery, basically from the corporate food and the chemtrails. Okay, this nanomachinery is growing in everyone. It's not just targeted people, it's literally everyone. And it's been this way for the last, here in the United States, last 15, 20 years. This started back in 1996. Probably before that, but that's when they started chemtrailing this crap on us. That's why the chemtrails started in earnest after 96. So what I just described is that everyone is being targeted. And the distinction I make is between passive and actively targeted. Everyone is being targeted with the smart dust and the filaments, which is growing the nanomachinery using synthetic biology. That's a lot. You don't have to get it. Don't worry about that too much. But in a later date, we will. In the public, it grows far slower due to internal and external environmental differences. So basically, people that are being passively targeted, which is the general public, with the nanomachinery they have in them, is growing far, far, far slower than a targeted individual. And that's basically because of other weapons like nanobots, chemical weapons, the weather weapons being released by spook neighbors, stuff like that, and then the directed energy weapons magnetizing. All of that combined basically is making your body very, very, very magnetic. And when you're magnetic, you're acidic, and when you're in an acidic state, the nanomachinery grows very, very rapidly. Okay? So the general public's got it. Target individuals have it worse, of course. That's actually why targeting even exists, is they are developing automated systems by data acquisition to do this more to the general public. Basically the automation, I didn't say that right, but whatever, you know what I'm saying, of targeting, of having directed energy weapons influence the way people behave, basically by causing targeted inflammation. Okay? So most actively targeted people are unaware they are being targeted with nanomachinery and directed energy weapons. So let me say that again. Most people that are being actively targeted with counterintelligence torture teams, pointing directed energy weapons, flying the drones, they do not know they are being targeted. Celebrities, politicians, I don't know, industry leaders, they don't know until much later on. And some of them never figured out. Some of the people are just killed remotely or semi-remotely, because you still have a team on the ground using these weapon systems, never find out about it. I personally know people in my life that's happened to. Only a small section of actively targeted people would identify as targeted individuals. So basically what I've just said is that nanomachinery and this whole paradigm applies to everyone. The only really difference between a targeted individual and the general public is the implants and the counterintelligence torture teams and the quote gang stalking, the community harassment, all that stuff. That's really the only difference. The hardware is the same because they're developing the hardware for the general public by testing it out on targeted individuals in real time. That's what's going on. And if COVID didn't make that obvious for people, I don't know what would. The COVID mRNA shots, that was the same not the same, but a very, very similar nanomachinery technology that's in the chemtrails, that's in the smart dust and the smart filaments and so forth. Okay, so how do you detox nanomachinery and heavy metal? Well, to regularly detox body of nanos and heavy metal, it is essential to keep the gastrointestinal tract free of parasites, bioplaques, and yeast. The easiest way of doing that is eating the alkaline diet, fasting regularly, and consuming regular amounts of fiber. Now, there are many other solutions and habits like vibration plates, those exercise equipment, they vibrate, that helps quite a bit. Regularly exercising too, just getting your sweat going. Red lights help incredibly. Colonics can help at certain times to clean that colon. if it ever gets blocked. The colon is like a catch for so much of this nanomachinery. Shaving hair with oils helps from forming bioplaques on the outside of your body, and saunas, anything that helps you sweat basically is going to help detox. And then I've just got a quick thing of diseases associated to nanoparticle exposure. This is just to say it's already in the biomedical world that nanoparticles of any size cause a variety of illnesses. It's not really important. And then here I've got a link to some relevant coursework that I posted on a Discord-like server. It's not Discord, but it's like it. You can click on that. I'll have the PDF below the Rumble video, so you can go through this PowerPoint and click on this. I'll also have this link posted for relevant information, some sources, and some just relevant information of what I've gone over today. Okay, so that was the presentation of the 3 things that need to get done. If you want to relieve your symptoms, it's basically the only paradigm I've heard anyone present that's worth anything, and that's not to say that there aren't people out there that haven't tried in the past. It's just to say basically that those people aren't, there was only, Michael Tripala, there was a lot of good work that came out of him, but just real quick to recap, deactivate implants, demagnetize the body, and detox nanomachinery. So if you came in a little bit late and you didn't catch that, I'll be offering, if you email me and say you want to be in a workshop to help make an EMP that will deactivate implants, then we'll do it when enough people sign up and we can organize it. The stun gun EMP is so much easier to build than the high voltage power supply EMP, but either one we can do if enough people sign up. I just got to get that, that engagement or whatever. And I'll probably be posting the high voltage power supply EMP, how to build it pretty soon, just so it's out there for people that live in areas that can't buy the stun gun. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave it open to questions now, and let's try and not make this about any specific thing happening in our life. Let's try to keep this on with deactivating implants, demagnetizing the body, and detoxing nanomachinery. Okay, so if anybody wants to speak or ask a question, go ahead.
Well, I had a question.
Okay, let's do Forza Atlanta first.
Hey, good evening. What is your email?
My email is ACOLE96.
You say E?
No, it's E with ACOLE 9689 at hotmail.com. And then go to my Rumble page, OnionheadAndrew on Rumble, or it should just be OnionheadAndrew on the Rumble website, and it will have it under pretty much any video.
Okay. And are you gonna repost this on Rumble? This
I'll have this
tonight.
Yep. Sorry for interrupting you. I'll have this posted right after we're done.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello?
Yep.
Oh, I had a question. What if they're using the energy weapons to burn you and stuff and they're not affecting you? Because they do that to me. It doesn't affect me, but if you could tell, my voice gets really raspy because the phones. But there's a technology they're using right now is that they put a chip in my implant into my jaw. They covered it with some kind of metal because they're always trying to hurt me, but they don't affect me. But when they hit me with this weapon, it shocks from my brain down to my neck. That's the only thing that I know, and it doesn't feel like a sting. It literally feels like they're electrocuting you.
Yeah. So, okay, that's exactly what I was talking about. The first thing you'd want to do is deactivate your implant using an EMP. The second thing you're going to want to do is arrange conductance and basically a conductor, a capacitor and an inductor, depending how that's working. But you won't know that part of it until you deactivate the implant in that area. And how you do that is you build a stun gun EMP. That's the easiest way to do it. There is a video on my Rumble page that shows you how to make the stun gun EMP and produce the EMP across the implant.
So, like if I'm hearing radio from the wire that dropped down from my jaw, isn't that kind of weird?
Well, I wouldn't know specifically about that. And this is what I was saying about, let's not try to make it about our personal lives. Let's stay on. Because we could all sit here and talk about all this crazy stuff.
Yeah, I was just wondering about that one in my jaw. And then another one is that they're hitting us with like a gun now. And
like
you don't...
What? Like a what?
A gun.
You're cutting out.
It's I'm sorry, up in the hills and it's so happy here. But the thing is, they hit you with a gun, and it's not a gun, it's like
yeah, hey caller, you're cutting out.
Oh,
we can't.
Hello. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we couldn't hear any of that. Yeah, we've lost you.
Okay. Are you there?
Yeah, you're cutting in and out. We can't hear you.
Okay, yeah, I'm up in the hills. Sorry about that.
That's okay. Like I said, though, this will be posted on the Rumble channel right after we finish, so you can watch the presentation part of it to get an idea of what I've said already with the deactivating implants.
Yeah. Hi, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Me or the other person?
540, go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Wow. I have two questions. One is about the dust and the chemtrails. They had been, if you get chemtrails, when it gets inside the house, what do you do? How do you help that get out the house?
Yeah.
Or what do you do to address that?
That is a great question that is being worked on. But and I don't have an answer because basically when it dries, it forms these like dust bunnies. I'm sure you've seen this just based off your question. Those are pretty easy to deal with. Hold on a second.
You mean it's a visible dust? Well, okay.
Yeah.
It just looks like dust? Okay.
Yeah, but when it sometimes it will literally cling to stuff. It's got like a glue on it. And at that point, it's very, very hard to deal with. As far as when it gets in your body, then we're talking about the presentation stuff, demagnetizing, detoxing. Because that's ultimately the idea. Yeah, sorry, I do have one thing for you, actually. Degreaser. Degreaser helps remove it. It's not foolproof, though.
So rub degreasers on your body and your clothes and whatever.
No, I would say don't rub it on your body, but my friend was actually just working on this. It's funny you bring this up, but he was saying the best results he got was using a pre-soak in the wash and using a degreaser. So try to find a clothes-safe degreaser for your laundry, but I would not put it on your skin. You can use oil on your skin. Oil and razor will actually remove any glue that gets stuck to you. But I don't know your particular situation.
Right. A razor blade? You mean like a razor for shaving?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, and then I'm going to just switch really quickly. The other question is, we can sometimes feel different pains and such, and so you were saying first you want to start with deactivating things.
Yeah.
You go through the process, and do you have to ever think about like, oh, I'm feeling this kind of pain, so now I know I need to do this. Yeah. I was wondering if you can, I wanted to ask if you know, okay, it'll feel like an electrical thing or it'll feel like a vibrating thing, and you could tell us anything about.
Okay, so yeah, that's a great question, because when you're feeling a vibration versus the internal voltage, that's all the same thing happening in your body, but that's different weapon systems being operated, different frequencies of directed energy weapons being aimed at you. That's what that is. At one point, it's a tighter frequency length, like say a millimeter wave, which is all the new towers they just put up everywhere. That's that I believe. I'm not for sure 100% because I don't have a spectrum analyzer, but just based off of just what's the right way to say this? Theory alone, tighter frequency of wavelength, like a millimeter wave. That's literally why it's called a millimeter wave. It's because it's a millimeter, the wavelength. That's going to have a more of an effect on your body, like how you feel it kinetically, how you feel the motion in your body. The longer
vibrate.
Exactly, like a vibration. Thank you. The longer wavelengths are going to magnetize you slower, but more, I don't know the right word. It's like more torque. It's like, geez, it's really hard to describe, but when you go through...
It's not the vibrating thing then, you're saying. But the second one you're talking about, that's more magnetic?
It's persistent. It's if you're targeted, it's persistently what you're feeling, usually 24/7. That's weaponized RF all the way down to extremely low frequency. That's what that is. It's just like a huge wave, part of the spectrum that they're utilizing pretty much all the time. And anyways, how I detect which is which is through inductance and capacitance. If I'm overly magnetized, like I currently am just a little bit, I can feel it. If I'm overly magnetized, then I'll increase the capacitance on my body. And if you're watching, this is something right here that increases capacitance. It's as simple as layering plastic wrap and aluminum foil. When you layer it and you isolate these layers from each other and you wear that on your body, it increases capacitance. Okay? Sometimes I have too much capacitance on me, and I can feel that based off the weapon system, right? Because the weapon system is going to be bombarding my body with energy. Now my body is going to be resonating at a different frequency. That's kind of the point of the directed energy weapons. If I have too much capacitance for a weapon that they were using earlier in the day or whatever, then when that weapon system turns off and another turns on, I will be able to feel the field difference immediately. And what I do at that point is I either take capacitance off my body or I add inductance, because inductance is going to give me more magnetic charge and capacitance is going to take that magnetic charge away. So capacitance and inductance. So what was inductance? Inductance is literally just wearing copper wire coiled around you. That's all. It's so easy. And if you twist that copper wire, you can get even of a stronger or a more healthy, I should say, inductive field across your body. So sometimes you need more inductance. Sometimes you need more capacitance. Sometimes you need to put the inductance in the various areas because of the nanomachinery that's growing in us. And again, the nanomachinery is growing from implant to implant. That's why the first step is to deactivate the implants. So once you deactivate the implants using an EMP device, then this being able to feel the fields, the electromagnetic fields, becomes something, it happens automatically. And it's a literal gift from God, because after doing this, now even when I'm not being attacked that badly, which is very rarely because of this information I'm sharing, but even when I'm not being attacked that badly and I walk into a different area, I can feel the electromagnetic field of just what's there naturally in that area. Like, maybe not naturally, because there's electricity running, but like in a downtown area versus like being in the country, from changing these capacitive and inductive fields on my body.
Thank you so much. And that was covered copper or uncovered copper? Insulated copper or?
You can use either. but you would be best off to start with insulated. Okay. So
thank you very much.
But really, the number one step. I mean, do that if you want to relieve symptoms immediately, but it's not going to be a fix-all until you get the implants deactivated.
Okay, thank you very much.
No, thank you for the call or the question.
So just like wear the insulated copper like a bracelet, or what do you do with it?
You literally want to coil it around your body. So the more you wear of it, I'll give you an example. I got some on my arm actually. So my left arm is heavily attacked, and it's heavily attacked with heavy metal. The heavy metals can be pulsed to a certain area of your body, even without the implants in you. It's just the implants make it automatic, okay? So right now what I'm doing is I'm wearing this wire on my left arm right here to help break up these self-assembling wires, okay? And then right next to it, so that's creating the inductive field. And I could layer this as much as I wanted to. The only thing is at a certain point it becomes bad for me, and I can feel the difference because the effects of the directed energy weapons become noticeable again, okay? And then right here, like I said, what's that? Yeah, you got to figure out where and how you're. Sorry, go ahead.
You need to wear on which part?
Yeah, I think I caught you. You got to figure out which part of your body is being attacked and how it's being attacked. And that's why there's no silver bullet to ending targeting. The silver bullet, I guess maybe this information that I'm sharing today is the education required to make you resilient enough. So at any given time, whatever part of the electromagnetic spectrum they're aiming at you with these weaponized transverse waves, you can attenuate, not shield, attenuate, and bring your body back into homeostasis. Does that make sense?
Yes. I was getting these like energy waves going down my abdomen, and somebody told me that they're scanning me, but when I feel that, but I don't feel it when I take magnesium regularly. But do you know what that is exactly?
Yeah, well, roughly. I don't know exactly. I know roughly. Roughly what's happening when you're taking the magnesium, it's breaking apart those self-assembling wires and nanomachinery. It's creating a alkaline or a negative charge in your body that's disassembling that magnetic structure.
Well, okay, so it's just from them hitting me with the whatever that's causing that feeling.
No, it's two things. Well, it's potentially three things, but it's for sure two things. And the two things is the heavy metals and smart dust and smart filaments, the nanomachinery in your body, and then them hitting that with the directed energy weapons.
Right.
So when you break apart these nanomachinery structures, and then when they go to access that area with the directed energy weapons, it no longer has the effect it had before. So that's what the magnesium's really doing. That's what all detox is doing. The easiest way to detox nanomachinery and heavy metals, it's not the easiest way, but it's the cheapest way, is to fast. If you eat very little, or if you go like a 2-3 day stretch without eating, which I know sounds crazy, but a lot of people have always done it throughout a lot of history, is your body compresses upon itself and squeezes all this crap out. And then the people that are aiming these weapon systems freak out, and they turn up everything on you. And what you feel is, what's that?
A water fast? A water fast?
Dry fasts are the best. You can do a water fast too. It just doesn't work as good, but it still works. And it depends too. If the water you're drinking is full of heavy metals, then it's gonna, you're gonna have those symptoms reappear if you keep consuming that, right? And that's why we go back to deactivating the implants as the first step. Because even if you are drinking poisoned water, which pretty much all of our tap water is across the United States, across Canada, so forth, Even if you are drinking that poison water supply, once you have the implants deactivated, then it won't create the symptoms immediately. You'll have a chance to take the magnesium or fast or whatever you're going to do to relieve all your other symptoms. Where the inductive and
then,
yep.
So then it would depend upon everything else, for like how often, how it's an individual thing. How often the person needs to do that, right?
Yeah, you have to learn how to be resilient through these attacks, because these attacks are not just one thing. It's a whole variety of things that are doing one thing. And the one thing they're doing is they are assembling heavy metals in your body, and then nanomachinery is gluing those in place, and directed energy weapons are accessing them to give you symptoms. So basically, the nanomachinery and the heavy metal can be polarized in your body, and that's giving you the deep internal shocks and zaps and the general feeling of uneasiness, unwellness, the emotional part of it, the constipation, swelling of the lymph nodes. It's all that paradigm of heavy metals, nanomachinery, and directed energy weapons.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'd like to ask a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah, the EMP device, when you disable the implants, do the implants ever come back? Like they come back on?
No, but the people, if you're actively being targeted, the people will eventually, that are doing this to you, the counterintelligence teams, they'll eventually realize what's going on, and they'll try to shoot you full of more of them. Okay? Because like I was saying, I think it was before you got into the call, but these implants are very, very, very small, the average one people have, and they're being shot with railguns. And I don't know exactly how it works, but these implants can be shot through various objects, like drywall, for example, like a particle board, wood. Basically, what I'm saying is that every target is implanted with these very, very small implants that are shot into them, and when it hits them, it feels like a splinter or a mosquito bite, or even less than that. But so to answer your question, no, the ones that you deactivate don't turn back on, but there will be attempts to keep shooting you full of these things. So you have to stay on top of it. And eventually you'll tune into that feeling of being shot with one.
All right. Yeah, because I remember when I got implanted, it wasn't a shot actually.
Uh-huh.
It was about 10 years ago. I slept with this girl that was like ex-Army.
Uh-huh.
Woke up in the morning and I had like all these cuts on my body. I remember where the exact implants were. They were in the frontal lobe of my head. They were behind my ears. They were
so
one behind my arm and one on my back behind my heart.
Okay, so yeah, that's I've heard that story many times actually. I'm sorry that you've experienced that. The yeah, a lot of times actually, Gunnar, a lot of times. But either way, yeah, for you, because those may be more deep lying, the stun gun might not be enough. You might need the high voltage power supply. It produces a stronger EMP. But either way, what that's going to do is the implants are still going to be there in your body, but they're going to not be able to pulse your body. So they can still be aimed at with the other weapon systems and heated up basically, but they're not going to be able to transfer that magnetic energy from the directed energy weapons into an electrical charge in your body. Excuse me. You have those implants like you were talking about, and then you've got the small ones too. Every target's got the small ones too. So both things are going on for you. Very quickly, when I had a surgery too, and I got 2 of them in me also. So I don't refute like the bigger ones, the more permanent ones. So I don't refute what you're saying about the bigger one being there. I know 100% that that's a thing, and I know they use honeypots. Like I said, I've heard that story a lot.
Yeah, and like the next day is like when I woke up, that was the first day my gang stalking started. I saw cars coming around me. I mean, I was targeted all my life. Like I'm like 50 years old now, but I mean, I can remember things from a kid and, you know, targeted all my life. But yeah, I believe I got the implants around 10 years ago, and then what it was like little small cuts, and I really didn't know at that time. I thought maybe I was drinking and I fell, but I remember there was like these little small cuts, and they were deep and like fleshy, and they were like in places I wouldn't notice, you know. But then I remember the gangster, and like years later I figured it out, you know, I got implants. But yeah, I've also heard people telling me like they were working on the lawn and they got shot with something. So I believe your story about like they can shoot something at you. Yeah.
Well, and I'm not to say that you're wrong or whatever, right? That's not the point. You have them in you too, the little ones. Everyone does. The little ones are so small, and they can be shot so delicately into you that you can hardly feel it. It will literally feel like a nervous system sensation. And again, that's not to refute that the bigger ones aren't there too. But either way, the EMP, you need to EMP your body on a fairly regular basis. Step one, you will get so much relief instantly from doing that. And then step two, you know, wearing the capacitive and inductive items, the coiled copper wire and the aluminum foil saran wrap and layers, which is just a capacitor. Wearing those at different places of your body and detoxing the nano will get you where you need to be. Even with you being hit or being cut open like that. A lot of targets their houses are broken into at night. These people enter and they inject them, you know, with needles full of what I would assume is implants and various chemicals and substrates that work like implants. So you're not the only one. You just got it pretty bad, you know.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. And email me. I said this earlier, but I'll say it again. Email me if you want to do a workshop on building either the high voltage power supply or the stun gun. Either way, though, you are going to need to get the parts, obviously, so that when we do come to the workshop, whenever that does happen, you know, we can all do it together.
All right, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I was wondering also if the stun gun or whatever, or the EMP, any of them, also help for Morgellons disease. Do you know anything about that?
Okay, so yes, I do. Morgellons is the nanomachinery with another weapon system that I haven't covered today, or I've covered very, very quickly. Nanobots. The nanobots are sprayed into your environment during break-ins. They're usually, not always, sometimes they're aerosolized and then put into weather weapons that are drifted into your house. But the nanobots crawl from the outside to the inside of your body, and they drop payloads of nanomachinery, more or less, or things that will be nanomachinery later on. It forms bioplaques. The same thing is happening on the inside of your body. But it comes from smart dust and smart filaments, and that's happening to the whole public. The EMP doesn't help with that so much. A little bit it does. What the EMP does is it stops those implants and allows you to demagnetize your body. Once your body is demagnetized, then detoxing the symptoms related to Morgellons is very, very easy. Clearing the lesions in your body, very, very easy on the inside or the outside. And the general public is going through, you know, half of Morgellons right now. It's just, again, you've got that extra layer because you're targeted, and that extra layer is nanobots being sprayed onto your clothes, into your environment during break-ins. And when I say nanobots, I literally mean they're like close to molecular sized, a little bit bigger in the nano range, and they literally crawl. They're literally like, if you could imagine, like a billion spiders. Just imagine it. That's not actually what it is, but they literally move, and they go. It takes them like, I don't know, an hour to move a half inch or something like that, maybe longer, something like that. But you'll have so many on you that they'll constantly be moving into various places. And that's why when you look at your lesions or your skin, when you have Morgellons symptoms, it seems like it's designed like it's smart, because it actually is smart, because it actually is designed, because it actually is being controlled with radio frequency because of these nanobots.
Cool. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because there was a guy named Michael Chapala. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He was like they killed him, and he had like an EMP device or something he was using on targets, and he was healing them, and then right after that he died. But
okay,
yeah.
So
yeah,
no, I know all about Michael Chapala. Michael Chapala is one who gave me a lot of these ideas. Michael Chapala, yeah, he had most of this figured out, and you're right, that is why they did kill him. But what he was doing with that EMP, the big EMP that people were getting into, was deactivating the implants and detoxing the nanomachinery, or breaking apart the nanomachinery in people's body, and then if there was any nanobots on that person or in that person, it was destroying them. It was doing all of that at once because it was a huge and very powerful EMP. But when those people left, they were subject to more nanomachinery growth and nanobot placement, and to be implanted again because they didn't understand what was happening. And it's not Michael Chapala's fault at all. He was doing really good work, and given more time, he probably would have figured the rest of this out, or maybe he did and he didn't publish it. That very well could be the case, usually is the case. But many people that had his treatment afterwards had their symptoms all return because of what I stated. Not because Michael Chapala's treatment didn't work, but it didn't work because people didn't know what was happening in their environment, that they were being reimplanted, that the nanomachinery was reforming, and that they had these nanobots crawling on them in them.
Yeah, because every time I know how to detox, and every time I do that stuff, I have like my own chemtrail crews. Literally, they go right up over me, and I see like cars going by my house. They're like reporting, like if I'm outside or whatever. Like that's how I'm like a high level target. Like I got like mine's like air for everything, everything. Only thing I don't get is like voices,
Well, no, that's pretty. Not to take away from your experience because it's so extreme. It's it's a terrible extreme process. Life that we're living with, going through all this. But that I've heard, that's a lot of people's lives that are going through this. And the reason, when you detox, you're breaking apart that nanomachinery in your body. And then when you said you have your own chemtrail crew, they're going, crap, we need to get these smart filaments, smart dust, whatever you want to call it, back into this person's breezeways and then breathways. So they extra pump the sky full of all this crap, and then you breathe it, and then the process restarts again. But if you jump the process and deactivate the implants, what you'll do is you'll put a serious hold on all of their efforts. Now, they can recalibrate with certain directed energy weapons at certain times to get the same effects, but then you demagnetize your body, and then you're back to detoxing, and you're living the good life, okay? And what I mean by the good life is you're able to live. You're not actively dying. And I'm not trying to be a doom person in your life, but when these weapon systems are going, they're killing you. And it's not just you, it's me, it's everybody. This is literally, the general public's going through a genocide right now because they're going through the same thing right now. They're passively targeted, though. You jumped in after I was saying that. But I'll have all of this posted on the Rumble page so that you can review what you missed.
Cool, man. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. No, God bless, brother, because this is a heck of a fight, and that's why I'm doing this whole class or call or whatever it's going to be titled, because I realized, 3-6 months ago, once I started deactivating the implants, there wasn't going to ever be a silver bullet to this. There was going to have to be a concise paradigm that people could understand. And I think I've created it through the grace of God, and I'm sharing that precise paradigm with you right now. Deactivate implants, demagnetize the body, detox nanomachinery and heavy metals.
Yes, it's definitely a war every day, man.
Yep. Is there any other questions?
Yes. I have a question. I'm in this Facebook group called EMF Blocking Hats by Alana, and she has Morgellons, and she seems to know a lot about nanotech. And according to the people in the group, these rashes I've had are accumulations of nanotech, and I recently had one on my chest, and then started having issues like with breathing and stuff. And so I think there's something going on. That's probably what it is, right?
Yeah, it's nanotech. On the outside of your skin, it forms a plaque. You can take a razor and some oil, and when you put the oil on your body, like mineral oil or castor oil, something like that, that's safe for your skin. When you put that oil on your body, or coconut oil would be great too, you can shave, and what you'll see when you look at the razor, even if there was no hair in that spot, you will see what looks to be like rubber cement as it gets peeled and old. It'll be on your razor. That's the bioplaque.
Well, the thing is, so the rash comes and goes, but when it appears, that means the nanotech is active or doing something, right?
It means that there's a bioplaque there. That's what the rash is. It's a like plaque on your teeth.
Okay, so it's on my lungs then, and that's why I'm having breathing issues.
Yes, exactly.
So I would need to do the stun gun thing.
Yes, you want a stun gun. Yep. And if you want immediate relief right now, and you don't have the means to go and buy a stun gun, but you've got copper wire around you, then you would wrap that around your lung. And what that would do is it would make an inductive, not around your lung, around the torso of around the part of your body where your lungs are, and that will make an inductive field within your body, and that inductive field will break apart nano. So that
how long should I just 24/7 or keep it on 24/7 or?
You'll figure it out once you start coiling copper and wearing it. And then, and then doing the capacitor part of it too. You want to do both. You want to experiment with both at roughly the same time, so you can measure the fields, right? You will literally be able to feel the effect of wearing these things. But anyways, you'll figure it out how much you want to wear. For example, I've got one on right here, right now. I knew since I was going to be presenting, I was going to get hit very hard, and I have been. So I put this one on. Now, if I go to the store, I'm not going to wear this. It makes me look like Quasimodo, right? I'm going to take this off. It's already bad enough with the community harassment.
Directly against your skin? The copper goes directly against your skin or over your shirt, or?
It can be whatever you want. The more effective is going to be closest to your body. But you can go over your shirt. You can use an insulated wire. You can use an uninsulated wire. The thing that is happening is it's making an inductive field. And then, like I said, if you have too much of that, though, it can be an issue later on, right? So they can target you with different frequencies, and that inductive field that you've produced in your body, which is inherently magnetic, could actually help their weapon systems. So at that point, what you would want to do is you'd want to put the capacitor on your body, various points. You'll figure that out again, depending on where they're attacking you. And it will bring that magnetic charge down. So it really is about learning to use these tools when and where and why and how and all
that. Are you concerned about your, do you know how they Chapala and,
I'm sorry, you're cutting out. You're cutting out really bad. The last thing I heard was, do you know how they
killed Michael Chapala, and are you concerned? I guess you're concerned. You have to be very careful about your own safety also. I'm sure we're all keeping you in our prayers, and
All right, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, I know how they killed Michael Chapala. What they did is I don't know for sure. I have a strong presumption based off my own anecdotal evidence and what happened in his life. I heard on his deathbed, or not his deathbed, excuse me, on the post on Facebook that was about his death before it got taken down, that he was meeting that night, the night he died, or I guess he died the next morning very early. But the night he died, he went out to meet someone that was going to give him investment for the EMP machine. So what I think happened is that was a setup, and they poisoned his food there. And when he came home with all this nanoparticulate heavy metals in his body from the poisoned food, what they did is they aimed a directed energy weapon, very strong, at his heart, and just his heart. And basically, all that heavy metals just bounced around his heart until he died that night. Gave him a heart attack. Yeah.
So it seems like a lot of people are having strokes, heart attacks, and they're probably doing it, right? Depopulation.
Yes, we're in a depopulation. The general public is being passively targeted. The directed energy weapons that we experience as targeted individuals, they're not experiencing for the most part. But that's not to say that having heavy metals and nanomachinery in them like they do won't cause strokes and clots and stuff. Because when it's not being magnetized with the stronger directed energy weapons, it's staying in the arteries and the veins. When it's being magnetized with the more powerful directed energy weapons, it's getting pulled to various areas of your body, whether that's your head, usually it's your head, your organs, and your skin. It's literally getting pulled from the gastrointestinal and the lungs and the bloodstream out to the out parts of your body, right? And that's how all those nanomachinery arrays are being formed. But in the general public, it's not being pulled, more or less, sometimes a little bit, but not really. But it's staying in their body and it's growing. And it's making these things called white fibrous clots. And you can look this up online. You just Google white fibrous clots, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, thank you. Can I ask you one more?
Yeah, no, good question.
TIs, like Andrew Boswell, Renetta Jones, Andrea Holloman, who started the gang stalking site on Quora, gang stalking worldwide. They all died too young. And,
I'm sorry. Hey, you're cutting out really bad. There's like a buzzing, electromagnetic buzzing. But I caught you. You said a whole bunch of names. I caught the names, and you said people like that.
Do you think that they, it was like their death? It was like an inadvertent reaction to, or do you think they were purposely taken out for some reason? And why do you think if they were?
Well, I wouldn't know the particular people you're talking about. Were they naturopaths?
I don't know. I think they were all trying to, do the healthy things, but I mean, they were all posting about targeting and stuff, yeah, no, 100%.
Anybody, sorry, you just cutting out a lot. Any person in the public that's not targeted, that's talking about targeting, is themselves going to be actively targeted, but not overtly, covertly. I'm experiencing the overt side of it. I didn't start out knowing all this information. I started out just being a wildman firefighter, and then I got thrown into this world. So they weren't going to un-overt target me, right? But people like, I don't know, those truth tellers that aren't actively targeted, once they start talking about targeting, then they will be actively targeted, but covertly. And how they kill people in that state is usually how they killed Michael Trapala, with heart attacks, usually, but also with various organ failures. Like Aaron Russo, I know he was one of these people, like you were talking about. He's a truth teller that started talking about these things. But he got bladder cancer. You can give people... Yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, at one point I posted a lot of things on Facebook, and I deleted it. I don't know. I think it's just wiser for me personally to just keep a low profile on it because.
Yeah, I would say pray upon it. You're cutting out really bad, but I would say pray upon it, one way or the other. You'll know when you should and when you shouldn't.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay. Was there any other questions?
Yeah, does grounding work at all?
Yeah, grounding's going to work, but hey, Vicky, could you mute yourself just because you're buzzing? Thank you. Grounding works, but it's not nearly as effective as making the inductive and capacitance on your body. It doesn't work that effective, is what I mean.
Yeah, that's like the only thing I haven't tried really. So I was just wondering.
Okay. Yeah. It's what we've been talking about. Is there any other questions?
Yeah, Andrew, I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Do magnets help until you can build the thingamajiggy?
The EMP device?
Yeah.
Well, anything helps until you can build it. Yeah, of course, like you just said, you're going to build it when you have the opportunity. Not anything we've talked about, like wearing the copper wire will definitely help. Wearing the capacitors will definitely help. Fasting will definitely help. And magnets, when they're arranged, see, I got something I can show you right now. This is very helpful. Well, not very helpful. It's fairly helpful, is what I should have said. But I don't know if you can see in here, but what I've got here is duct tape, and I've got 2 magnets. You can't really see because the duct tape's frayed. Here, hold on a second. I think I got another one. But either way, when you arrange the magnets in a certain formation, which is attraction, here, this is better. Okay. So you can see this on either side of this duct tape. I've got a magnet. Okay, and these magnets, if I stop holding it, will get pulled into each other because they're attracted to each other. If I put my body in that attraction, it does the same thing as wearing a capacitor would. Okay, just like that. That's why I made this. When I'm getting attacked very heavily in an attraction formation, I'll use magnets. But it's not as effective as the copper wire making the other capacitors. It is effective. You can get something out of it though. But in attraction, okay? If they're in unattraction and you put your body in it, you're going to notice an increase of symptoms.
Oh,
it will help,
okay.
Yeah, because it will help magnetize your body.
Okay.
So don't just place magnets on you. Put them in attraction and put your body in that space where they would pull in on each other.
Okay, and the EMP, do you use that weekly, daily?
As much as I need to. Sometimes it just depends. When I was first doing it, I was all over that thing. I used that every hour and a half it took to charge until it ran out of charge. And then when I had all of the implants, the original implants, deactivated, then I didn't use it again for months or weeks because the counterintelligence torture teams were not hitting me with more implants, so I didn't need to. For the last few weeks, I use it once a day, maybe more, maybe less, depending if I feel those impacts. And I know that sounds crazy that they could shoot you through your walls and stuff like that, through windows, but we're talking about super, super, super small. It's so incredibly small, and these things are being shot through electromagnetic railguns. So it's not at all what you would think of when you hear that statement, getting shot with something. So now I'll use it. I think the last time I used the EMP device, I've got a high voltage one, was yesterday morning, just to make sure that I didn't get hit in my sleep or anything.
What's the?
I'm going to give it another go tomorrow, and then I'll see if I still struggle with it, and then I'll just email you to participate in the workshop, because I didn't get it right, and I don't want to blow the device and have to order another one. But in the meantime, I just use the TENS machine, the TENS unit.
Okay,
hopefully that help.
Yeah, the TENS unit, it breaks apart the nano machinery assembly or arrangement. It's complicated, I know, but I'm trying to keep it simple. When the heavy metals form into the self-assembling wires, and then the nano machinery glues it all in place, more or less, you put a TENS unit over those areas, and it breaks apart those connections. That's all the TENS unit is doing. And in fact, after that point of breaking apart those connections, it's like it's enabling them to potentially create more connections in the future because that array underneath your skin is still there. It's just it's not connected. So when more nanomachinery or heavy metals get into that place and the TENS unit is still running, it can make a more magnetic area and more, like I said, more heavy metals accrue in that area, if that makes sense.
So then not a good idea to use it.
Well, it's good to use it in the short term, and it's good to use it if you have to, right? Keep using it if you have to, but know that long term it's not the solution. But short term, it's good.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So any other questions? All right, well, hey, this was a great first call, and please, if you're listening, I know you are because I can see, but please share that what we're doing here, because this is, this is huge. This is way, way bigger than me or any one of us. We're talking about the beginning of the end of being attacked with directed energy weapons. And I know that's a heck of a statement, and I wouldn't be making it lightly. I'm not making it lightly. So please get the word out of what we're doing here, and email me about the stun gun EMP or the high voltage EMP workshop. And like I said, when we get enough interest, we'll put that together. Before that, though, I do have the stun gun EMP video, just roughly show you how to build it on Rumble, and I can answer your questions and whatnot through email as you move through it, if you don't want to wait for the workshop and you want to move through it yourself. All right, so that's good. Yeah, go ahead.
I have one more question, Andrew.
Okay.
So I have the 24 gauge wire, the copper wire that I tried with, and that's really thin and small, and I struggled with that. But can speaker wire work also? That's encased in plastic, but it's actually 4 pieces of copper, 4 strings of copper. Could you rig something up like that on it?
Yeah, but you want to make sure that the electricity is running around the wire just like a regular wire. So what I mean by that is speaker wire is usually 2 wires. You want to split the wire and turn it into 1 wire. The trick, though, so that puts you back at the same place with the other one, as you were having trouble using getting that in place. When you circle it, when you put it into a circle, use a can or something like that to get your form. And then while it's in the right form, the perfect circle, take a little piece of tape and tape that circle, and then you can hot glue that whole thing or super glue it or whatever. You can keep the tape on there. The tape will be fine. The little bit of insulation on the wires is fine. So a little bit of tape is going to be fine too.
Okay, and I could do like 20 rounds on the can. The more the better?
No, at some point it becomes redundant. Probably, I'd say if you're using 24 gauge, about, what is that? About a ½ inch, a little bit less than a ½ inch. So 3/8 of an inch thick of a wire, if that makes sense. So I'd say about, I'll give you turns. I'd say about 14, 16, maybe 20, something like that, but not more the better. Yeah, you probably have it by sight,
Yeah, okay, gotcha. I'll try it again, but I'll probably email you to do a part of the group thing. I'm going to try it tomorrow again.
And then are you with Gaji, correct?
With who?
Do you know Gaji?
No. Who
okay, sorry. Because she runs a call. She was talking about a Jordan person that she was trying to build it and couldn't build it. Sorry, I thought that was you. She runs a conference call. That's all. I thought you were somebody else.
No. All right. Well, thank you for the information.
Yeah. You're welcome.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure being here with you today. I will set up another one, and I believe I have all of your emails. If not, email me, and I'll have your email, and I'll put you on the newsletter. And the next one will either be how to use the stun gun or how to build the conductive, or excuse me, the capacitors and the inductors. So we'll figure it out. I'll email it to you. All right, thank you so much for your time, and may God have mercy on us all. God bless.
God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and God bless everyone. God bless you.
Tweet, tweet, tweet. Tweet, 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 tweet. Ooh, 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 ooh.